Giants everywhere, tearing our cities apart like paper. We fought back. We tried. But the war for the planet was over in 24 hours. We didn't win. They just died. Why? Welcome to Unwoven Timelines. To understand this bizarre 24-hour apocalypse, we have to go back. It didn't start with a war. It started as a normal Tuesday, 3:15 p.m. Eastern Time. People were in their offices. Kids were getting out of school. There was no warning, no bomb, no alien invasion. Just an event, a sound, a deep, global thrum. And in that single terrifying instant, every insect on Earth grew 100 times larger. The first 24 hours were a slaughter. It was a biological blitzkrieg. Humanity's greatest cities, New York, London, Tokyo, were torn apart.
Not by malice, not by an organized invasion,
but by simple, primal hunger, and by pure structural chaos. A swarm of giant grasshoppers landing on a bridge caused it to collapse from the sheer weight. A mosquito, the size of a small plane, its proboscis like a steel spear, didn't bite, it impaled. We weren't just at the bottom of the food chain, we were the food. We gathered our armies, we aimed our tanks, we prepared for a war of extinction. And then, just as the fight began, it stopped. We sent out the drones, and we saw them. Mountains of dead monsters. This wasn't a victory, it was a mystery.
we were left with a silent, broken planet and one terrifying question. What killed them? It wasn't our weapons. We sent in the scientists, and the truth they found wasn't in our bombs. It was in a high school biology textbook. The monsters weren't killed by us. They were killed by physics. It turns out the universe has rules, and the insects had just violated 2 of them. The first discovery, they couldn't breathe. Insects do not have lungs. They breathe passively through tiny tubes in their bodies. This works perfectly when you are 1 inch long, but when you apply the square cube law, the math is brutal. When you make an ant 100 times bigger, its need for oxygen, its volume, increases by 1 million times. But its ability to get oxygen, its surface area, only increases by 10,000 times. It was an instant oxygen deficit. They were suffocating from the moment they were born. The second discovery was gravity. An exoskeleton is a miracle of engineering when you're small. But when you scale that ant up to the size of a horse, its own mass becomes its enemy. Their legs, which were never designed by evolution to hold 800 pounds, snapped like dry twigs. They weren't killed, they crumbled. We thought we were safe. We thought the nightmare was over. But the scientists, they weren't relieved. They were terrified. They pointed their instruments not at the monsters, but at the air. The real apocalypse was just beginning.
The war was over, but the real horror had arrived. Humanity was now faced with a new, unimaginable problem. A math problem. What do you do with 1.5 quintillion tons of rotting giant insect corpses? A dragonfly the size of a jet decaying in your local water reservoir. The scale was biblical. We didn't have enough shovels. We didn't have enough fire. We didn't have enough time. And after 3 days, the stench began. The air itself became toxic. The sheer volume of methane, ammonia, sulfur, and cadaverine released from 1.5 quintillion tons of decay was catastrophic. The air became unbreathable. The water became undrinkable. The corpse water, a thick, black, polluted soup of liquefied insects, flowed into our rivers. Humanity didn't die from a giant monster's bite. We died from the smell. We died from the rot.
The few who survived ran. We hid underground in deep bunkers, desperately trying to filter the poisoned air. We abandoned the surface. We left the world to the cleaners because something loves death. Something loves this much rot. It wasn't us. It was the other kingdom of life, the micro-world. Bacteria and fungi, freed from their tiny hosts and given an all-you-can-eat buffet the size of a planet, they exploded. The real rulers of this new dead world were not human. The age of insects was over in 24 hours. The age of fungi had begun. We were no longer the masters of the earth. We were just survivors, hiding in the dark beneath the world's largest and most terrifying mushroom.
And this is the timeline where we got our monster movie. But the lesson was not what we expected. We are always afraid of the big monster. The teeth, the claws, the things we can see. But this timeline proves that the real monster is the invisible balance, the physics of an exoskeleton, the chemistry of the air, the microscopic fungi that wait patiently for us all, the delicate, invisible threads that hold our entire world together. We didn't just fear the insects. We realized we are the insects. Small, fragile, and completely dependent on a system far greater than ourselves. So, I have one question for you. If you had to choose your apocalypse, would you rather face the giant, visible monster you can fight, or the invisible, silent plague you cannot? Let me know your answer in the comments below. And while you think about that, subscribe to Unwoven Timelines. The future is not set, and we have so many more threads to unravel.